Friends, have you ever thought that some people break down in front of difficulties, while some people overcome those difficulties and become even stronger? The difference is not in strength, the difference is in mindset. Looking at the most successful people in the world, one thing is common: their mental strength. Whether it is business, sports, or the toughest moments of life, mentally strong people remain calm even under pressure, change failure into learning, and keep control of their mind in every situation. A research shows that about 70% of a person's daily thoughts can be negative. And if we do not learn to control them, then those thoughts gradually start controlling our confidence, decision-making, and the future. That is why mental strength is not a luxury. It has become a survival skill in today's fast and competitive world. In this video, we will know what is the real science behind becoming mentally strong and what are the powerful principles that can completely change your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You will learn how to master emotions, how to change difficulties into training, not weakness, how to control your life with discipline instead of motivation, how to protect your mental environment, how to use failure not as an end but as a feedback, and most importantly, how to turn your inner voice into a powerful self-talk. If you really want your mind not to break in front of any challenge in life, but to become stronger, then this video is for you. So watch this video till the end, because every chapter is going to give a new direction to your mindset. And if you want to learn such powerful books and life-changing ideas in an easy and engaging way, then subscribe to the Future Mind Motivation channel right now, so that every new video will reach you first. Chapter 8. Master your emotions. Friends, just imagine once your day begins as soon as you wake up in the morning. But in a few minutes, a small thing spoils your mood. Maybe someone's harsh message, getting stuck in traffic, or a situation that was out of your control. Gradually, irritation increases, negative thoughts start coming to your mind, and the whole day goes by under the influence of the same emotion. The question is, should our life's direction really be determined by these small emotions? The truth is that the most mentally strong people in the world do not suppress their emotions, but learn to understand them. They know that anger, fear, jealousy, or stress are not enemies. These are just signals that the mind tries to tell us something important. The only difference is that some people understand these signals and control them, while other people come under the control of those signals. In psychology, an interesting fact is told that the human brain gives emotional reactions very quickly because the part called amygdala immediately recognizes danger or threat. This is why sometimes we react without thinking. But mentally strong people do not choose reaction, they choose response. This small difference can change your whole life. Imagine that two people are in the same situation. Both get criticism. The first person gets hurt immediately, responds in anger, and then regrets. The second person stops for a few seconds, takes a deep breath, and calmly observes the situation. The same criticism becomes an opportunity for improvement for him. This is emotional mastery. It means not to destroy the emotion but to give it direction. In history, many great leaders and athletes have achieved extraordinary success because of this skill. When the pressure is the highest, their mind does not panic but thinks clearly, because they have understood a simple rule. Emotion is temporary but decision can be permanent. That's why the first step to becoming mentally strong is awareness. Whenever a strong emotion comes, instead of reacting immediately, ask yourself a question. Am I becoming a slave to this emotion, or can I control it? This moment can become your real power. Gradually you will notice that the same situations that used to disturb you before do not affect you anymore, because you have developed a new habit, pausing, observing, and consciously choosing a response. When you learn to master emotions, then even the challenges of life cannot shake you so much. Your mind remains steady, decisions are clear, and confidence begins to grow gradually. And this is the foundation on which the real mental strength stands. Friends, just think for a moment. If there is no problem in life, everything is always easy, everything happens without struggle, will we really be able to become strong? Maybe not. Because the truth is that a person's real strength is not from comfort but from difficulties. Imagine a young athlete who gets up every morning to train. His muscles ache, his body gets tired. Many times he feels like quitting practice today, but the same pain gradually becomes his strength. If that athlete never struggles, he can never become a champion. This rule also applies to life. Hardship is a kind of mental gym where every challenge trains our thinking, patience, and courage. But often we do not understand this truth. When there is a problem, we immediately think, why is this happening to me? But mentally strong people change the question. They ask, what can this situation teach me? This is what makes the mindset difference. In the history of all the extraordinary people, one thing is common in their stories. Struggle. Whether he is a successful entrepreneur, a famous athlete, or a great leader, almost everyone has faced failures, rejection, and hardships. A famous research shows that when a person goes through difficult situations, his brain makes new neural connections. Struggle not only makes the character, but also makes the brain stronger. Imagine two different people. Both get a big setback in life. The first person thinks it is the end. He gets scared, loses confidence, and gradually stops taking risks. The second person sees the same setback as training. He falls, but every time he gets up and learns a little more. After a while, that struggle becomes his biggest strength. This is the reason why mentally strong people do not spend much time in the comfort zone. They know that growth is always outside of discomfort. When you put yourself in difficult situations, whether it is learning a new skill, doing public speaking, or facing a fear, then your mind gradually becomes stronger. In the beginning, every challenge seems difficult, but with time, those challenges seem normal. This process builds confidence. The real power lies in understanding that hardship is not an enemy but a hidden teacher. There is a lesson hidden in every struggle, which prepares us for the future. So next time, when life puts you in a tough situation, instead of getting scared, see it as a training session. Because maybe that moment is building the strength that you will need in the coming big challenges. And this mindset gradually makes an ordinary person mentally unstoppable. Have you ever noticed that when we set a new goal, the motivation is very high in the beginning? There is excitement in the mind, plans are made, and it seems that now life will change completely. But after a few days, that same motivation starts to decrease gradually. One day laziness comes, the next day there is no mood, and on the third day we think I will start from tomorrow. Gradually the goal is left behind and the routine becomes the same as before. This is the moment where most people lose, because they have left their success in the hands of motivation. But mentally strong people follow a different rule. They know that motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent power. Imagine a writer who wants to write every day. If he only waits for motivation, then maybe he will be able to write in 2 or 3 days a month. But if he develops discipline, then he will write every day, whether he is in a mood or not. This difference gradually creates extraordinary results. There is an interesting concept in psychology called the habit loop. When we repeat an action again and again, the brain makes it automatic. Takes effort in the beginning, but after a while that same work becomes routine. That is why successful people do not control their life with motivation, but control it with systems and habits. Imagine the situation of two students. Both have to top the goal in the exam. The first student starts studying with motivation, but after a few days, distraction and boredom stop him. The second student follows a simple rule. Study at a fixed time every day, no matter what the mood is. In the beginning, both have the same speed, but after a few months, the difference starts to look clear because discipline turns small actions into powerful results. This is the secret of many top athletes, entrepreneurs, and creators in the world. They do not wait for motivation. They know that greatness is made from daily habits, waking up every morning and following the same routine, practicing the same thing, giving the same effort. This consistency gradually forms the foundation of success. Sometimes discipline seems boring because it has less excitement and more repetition. But the real magic is hidden in this repetition. Every small action is like a brick that slowly builds your future. When you adopt discipline, the direction of life starts to change. Decisions become easier, distractions become less, and confidence increases on its own because you know that you can control your actions. And when a person learns to control his actions, he can also shape his destiny. This is the reason why mentally strong people do not run after motivation. They make discipline their most powerful weapon. Friends, imagine that your mind is like a garden. New seeds are sown every day in this garden of some positive thoughts, some negative doubts, and some such ideas that gradually shape your personality. Now just think, if there are weeds growing in this garden every day, if toxic thoughts and words like poison keep falling into it, will this garden be healthy? Not at all. The same thing applies to our mental environment. The things we hear every day, the people we spend time with, and the content we consume again and again, that slowly becomes our thought. There is an interesting psychological fact that a person is very much influenced by the average thinking of the 5 people around him. This means that if you live among people who always complain, who look for negativity in every situation, then gradually the same mindset starts coming inside you. In the beginning, you may not feel the difference, but over time, this influence can change your confidence, decisions, and dreams. Imagine 2 different environments. In the first environment, people always say, it is impossible, you will not be able to do it, the world is very unfair. In the second environment, people say try, learn. There is no need to be afraid of failure. If there is only one person standing in both places, but after some time, his thinking will be completely different because the environment silently shapes the mind. Mentally strong people understand this truth very well. They know that it is as important to protect the mind as it is to keep the body healthy. That is why they consciously decide who to spend time with, which advice to take seriously and which negativity to ignore. This does not mean that there will never be negative situations in life. The world is not always perfect, but a person with a strong mindset does not give space to every voice in his mind. He creates a filter. Imagine that you wake up every morning and open social media first and continuously see comparison, criticism and negativity. Gradually, your mind also starts thinking at the same frequency. But if at the same time you listen to inspiring ideas, learning content or positive conversations, then that same energy influences your actions throughout the day. This is the reason why many successful people carefully design their environment. They live with people who want growth, read books that expand thinking and participate in conversations that make the mind stronger. When you start protecting your mental environment, an interesting change starts happening. Doubts start reducing, clarity starts increasing, and confidence starts developing naturally. Because now your mind is not fighting with constant negativity, but it is working in the direction of growth. The real mental strength is not only created by the willpower inside, but also by the environment that shapes our thinking every day. So if you really want to be mentally strong, then first learn to protect your mind's garden. Because that same garden is going to write the whole story of your future. Chapter 5. Failure as feedback. For a moment, remember that moment in your life when you had worked hard, put in all your effort, but the result did not come as you had imagined. Maybe some exam, some business idea, some interview or some personal goal. How did you feel at that time? You felt as if everything was over. A voice comes in your heart. Maybe I am not worthy of it, maybe I will not be able to do it. This is the moment where most people stop, because they have considered failure as the end. But if you look at the pages of history carefully, then a surprising truth comes out. Almost every successful person in the world has faced failure many times, again and again, and sometimes very badly. The only difference is that some people make failure their identity, and some people make it their feedback. Imagine a scientist who is working on a new discovery. He experiments, but the result is not expected. Does he immediately think that everything is over? No, he sees that result as data. He thinks that this experiment is telling him which way does not work, and this information takes him to the right way. This mindset is the greatest strength of mentally strong people. For them, failure is not a shame but information. There is a famous example of Thomas Edison. When he was trying to make an electric bulb, thousands of attempts failed. But he said once that he did not fail 1,000 times. He found only 1,000 ways that did not work. This perspective is not ordinary. A strong mind is needed for this. Because when we fail, not only does the result not break, our confidence also shakes. Many times people, society and even our own mind starts judging us. But the truth is that failure is the most honest teacher of life. It shows us directly where there is a mistake, where there is a need for improvement and what should be changed next. Imagine two people make the same mistake. The first person feels ashamed, blames himself and is afraid to try in the future. The second person analyzes the same mistake. He thinks, what can I learn from this experience? Gradually, the same mistake becomes his wisdom. This is the reason why mentally strong people do not run away from failure but face it. They know that every setback brings a hidden lesson. When you start looking at failure as feedback, fear starts to diminish, because now every attempt is not a decision of victory or defeat. It becomes just a part of the learning process. And this mindset gives a person the courage to take risks, because he knows that even if he falls, he will not return empty-handed. He will get up with experience. This experience gradually becomes a skill, and that skill changes into success one day. So if life ever drops you, don't think of that moment as the end. See it as a message, a feedback that tells you what needs to be changed to move forward. Because many times the way to success does not go straight through victory, but through the steps of failure. Chapter 6. Powerful Self-Talk. Friends, have you ever noticed who we talk to the most throughout the day? Neither to friends nor to family but to ourselves. We have a constant voice in our mind. As soon as we wake up in the morning, we say, I have a lot of work today, maybe I won't be able to manage. As soon as we face a challenge, the same voice whispers, what if I fail? And gradually these little things start shaping our confidence. The truth is that the most powerful conversation of a person is what he does to himself. Imagine two different people who are standing on the same stage and they have to do public speaking. The first person's mind says, I am nervous, people will laugh, maybe I will make a mistake. His hands start shaking, words get stuck, and he quickly finishes the speech. Now look at the other person. He also has fear in his mind, but his inner voice says, this is just a moment, you are ready, just speak calmly. Same stage, same audience, but the result is completely different. The difference is only one thing: self-talk. In psychology, an interesting fact is told that our brain often believes what we say to ourselves. If we fill our mind with doubt, fear and negativity every day, then gradually our behavior also becomes the same. But if the same mind listens to encouragement, clarity and belief, then confidence starts to grow naturally. Mentally strong people understand this secret very well. They know that it is not possible to control every voice in the world, but their inner voice can definitely be trained. Imagine an athlete's training. When he is running the last lap, the body is completely tired, the muscles are responding. At that moment, not his body, but his inner voice decides whether he will stop or cross the finish line. If the mind says now it is not possible, then the body also stops. But if the same mind says one more step, just a little more, then suddenly the energy starts to feel again. This is the power of self-talk. It does not mean that we have to ignore reality. Strong self-talk means having an honest but encouraging conversation with yourself. When there is a challenge, then reminding yourself that it is difficult but not impossible. When you meet a failure, then say, I have learned, next time I will do better. When there is a doubt, then ask yourself, am I really so weak? Or is this just a moment? Gradually, this habit starts reprogramming the mind. You will notice that the same situations that used to create fear now do not seem so heavy. Because your inner voice is no longer an enemy, it has become a coach. And when the voice starts raising it, instead of lowering it, then no challenge can stop it for a long time. This is the moment when mental strength is not just an idea, it becomes your identity. Conclusion: for a moment, look back at your life. How many times have you thought that it is difficult to move forward now, that the situation is out of your control, that maybe you are not as strong as you should be? But the truth is that mental strength is not something that some people have from birth and others do not. It is a skill, a journey which every person can develop slowly. The only difference is that some people start this journey consciously and some people face the challenges of life without preparation. When a person starts understanding his emotions, then he realizes that every feeling is temporary, but his response can make his identity. When he does not consider hardships as punishment but learns to look at it, then every struggle makes his character stronger. When discipline becomes a part of his daily life instead of motivation, then his actions do not depend on mood but on purpose. Gradually, he begins to understand that his environment is shaping his thinking. That is why he consciously decides what kind of people, ideas and conversations he wants to stay in. Then one day he starts looking at failure from a different perspective. The thing that used to seem like an end now becomes feedback. A message that shows him the way to become better, and the most powerful change happens when he recognizes his inner voice. The same voice that used to put him in doubt now gives him courage, reminds him that every challenge is temporary and every effort is taking him one step ahead. This transformation is the real story. It does not happen. It is made up of small decisions, everyday habits, and every moment when a person, instead of accepting defeat, says to himself that he will try again. Life will not always be easy. Challenges will come, doubts will come, and many times the path will be difficult. But when your mind is strong, then those challenges, instead of breaking you, make you more powerful. So remember that becoming mentally strong is not an achievement of it is a continuous process. Becoming a little better every day, learning something from every struggle and controlling your mind in every situation is the real strength. And perhaps in this journey a person discovers his greatest power. That power which gives him the courage to stand up again and reminds him that the real victory is not outside but inside his mind.